Can you begin by introducing yourself?
I am Robert Ho. Online, I am known as Robert Ho, or sometimes by my initials RH. Offline, I am a 58-year-old man, not working, with an accountant wife and a son in university.
Online, you have been alleging for years that Lee Kuan Yew, his son Lee Hsien Loong, and Hsien Loong's cousin-in-law Wong Kan Seng have been repeatedly cheating in elections. Can you cite the instances?
Certainly, to begin with, back in historic times, or pre-internet times, way back in 1959, Lee Kuan Yew already cheated to become head of the PAP, which was then led by the very charismatic and popular Mr. Lim Chin Siong. What Lee Kuan Yew did was to go to London, met with then British Prime Minister Harold Macmillan, promised to serve British interests, in return for which Macmillan arrested and jailed Lim Chin Siong and many of the other PAP leaders and supporters without trial. This opened the way for Lee Kuan Yew to take over Mr. Lim's place as head of the PAP, and so he won the first and only democratic elections to become Prime Minister in 1959.
That was the first instance.
Yes, that was the first known instance.
And the next,
Well, at the next general election in 1963, Lee Kuan Yew actually lost by a huge landslide. The PAP had by then broken off a splinter party known as the Barisan Socialis, all former PAP members and leaders. In that 1963 general election, the Barisan Socialist was actually leading in 43 out of 51 constituencies during the counting at City Hall Vote Counting Center. Then, Lee Kuan Yew cheated. He switched off power to the City Hall area to cause a 6-hour power blackout, during which he changed all the votes. So he ended up with a landslide victory instead of the true landslide defeat. He should have been thrown out of power by popular vote in 1963, and the Barisan win power by democratic popular vote.
were there other instances of Lee Kuan Yew cheating elections?
Yes, indeed. I actually have two eyewitnesses who saw Lee Kuan Yew, Lee Hsien Loong, and Wong Kan Seng cheating in the 1997 Chengshan GRC group representation constituency. 5 parliamentary seats in all. My eyewitnesses are Mr. David Duclos and his lawyer friend. Mr. Duclos is a Singaporean Eurasian, a Roman Catholic, and a former police inspector and former official in the Port of Singapore Authority. His fellow eyewitness has his own law firm in Singapore. I have documented all this in my blog, which is entitled I Came, I Saw, I Solved It. My allegations in my blog and group email to about 50 people and comments in several websites such as the Online Citizen have never been challenged. To date, I have a clean record, never having been convicted or sued by Lee Kuan Yew, Lee Hsien Loong, or Wong Kan Seng. Although I have been investigated several times by the police, once for incitement to violence, once for criminal defamation, which was dropped, and currently I am again being investigated by the police for criminal defamation yet again. But I predict confidently that no charge will be made in my current case. It is not criminal defamation when what I allege is true, and I can prove it.
So your online work led to offline police investigations.
Yes, Lee Kuan Yew, Lee Hsien Loong, and Wong Kan Seng have used every legal and criminal method to silence me, but have failed. Well, they can still assassinate me or my family, but I bet they don't have the balls. They have made and are still making death and serious injury threats to me and my family. In addition, they have their secret police, the Internal Security Department, to vandalize my home properties such as car, computer, and all manner of electrical appliances to the tune of about $10,000 worth of damage already. Their secret police have also made me, my son, and my little niece very sick from flu and other physical ailments. A kind of germ warfare, cultivating and preparing viruses in their labs, then putting these into our food and drink, even into my medicine tablets.
Other instances?
Well, at an election rally, I met some other rally goers and they talked about how Lee Kuan Yew, Lee Hsien Loong, and Wong Kan Seng cheated to make Ong Teng Cheong the president, although he had actually lost the presidential election. That is why they couldn't risk any more presidential elections after that. Also, in the 1963 referendum to join Malaysia, Lee Kuan Yew also cheated somewhat by giving no option against joining. All the three options in the referendum were for joining Malaysia, none against. So it was not a referendum at all, typical of Lee Kuan Yew. And these are only the known instances.
What are the implications of Lee Kuan Yew cheating elections?
The implications are serious. When you cheat in elections, you are an illegitimate government. You have no mandate, no moral authority to rule, no legal powers at all. You are just a bunch of crooks, paying yourselves millions a year, with even more millions in bonuses. No better than a colonial government exploiting the people. It is akin to rape and robbery, maybe worse.
But haven't we seen some progress under this regime?
Look at our closest twin, Hong Kong, and see how much more progress they have made. They never had the Lee Kuan Yew, and yet their skyscrapers are taller, bigger, and more numerous. Their people are well educated, savvy, live in excellent infrastructure, and they have more money in their banks than we have. They are also a lot more entrepreneurial. Very few states in the world regress or make no progress. The whole world has been progressing, all without a Lee Kuan Yew. I call Lee Kuan Yew's economic policies Lee economics. And what Lee economics basically is to keep expanding the labor force, because the bigger your labor force, the bigger the GDP, because that is how GDP is calculated. So in my blog, which is entitled I Came, I Saw, I Solved It, I described how Lee Kuan Yew made use of what I call our three waves of labor. First, there was the post-war baby boom, which was the first wave of labor. Then Lee Kuan Yew encouraged all the women to work. So this is the second wave of labor. Then for the third wave, he imported humongous numbers of cheap foreign laborers. Today, 1 in 3 of the population are foreigners. So that is how Lee Kuan Yew makes the GDP go up artificially. Well, Lee Kuan Yew also created a bubble economy. When the bubble is growing, everything is hunky-dory. Asset prices keep going up. Everybody is euphoric because their tiny flat is increasing in value, and this feeds into the stock market. There is an irrational exuberance. For example, a typical 4-room HDB flat, which costs no more than about $30,000 to build, the government charges some $640,000 for it. They not only control the prices of the new flats, but also the resale flats. It is a total monopoly, like every government service and government company. So just recently, a 5-room resale flat in Queenstown sold for a staggering $850,000. These government monopolies relentlessly push up the prices of everything. So Singapore is among the 10 most expensive cities in the world to live in. And it is all due to monopolies, government monopolies, charging anything they want. But all bubbles burst. Lee Kuan Yew's property bubble is far worse than the American subprime bubble. When our bubble bursts, it will be the end of Singapore, and the Singapore dream will turn into the Singapore nightmare. Do read more from my blog, which is entitled I Came, I Saw, I Solved It. Thank you. Thank you very much.